You have said that you resent the idea of being called an African American, that
Yes.
you are a Black American.
Yes.
Explain.
I think that when they call Black people who were born and raised for generations in this country, if you accept the handle of African American, that says that you don't accept being an American American. You don't accept being born in Chicago or New York or Detroit or wherever you were born. For generations, your family's been here, you know? Built this country too. Sweat and tears and all that, you know, fought in every war, okay? So this is my country here. So I don't want to be called African American. I'm an American American. My people have died and done everything for this country.
I'm always going to be known as a Black American. I can't call myself an African American because when they want to separate us, then they say we are African American. But remember this: when I'm competing in the Olympics, I didn't compete on an African American Olympic team. I competed on an American Olympic team. So don't separate me when you want to separate me.
I am not an African American. I'm an American. I am a Black American. I am definitely Black. And yes, my ancestors come from Africa. How long does a bloodline have to live in one land before they are considered a pure species of that land? Meaning, how long did my people have to be in America to say, hey, no, we're American, compared to some people who are English American, who are Irish American, who are German American from their ancestors, but they get to call themselves American. There's nothing wrong with being African American, but a true African American is someone that is from Africa and moved here, either first generation or second generation, and has a tie to that country that I do not have. One of the first census in Virginia that allowed for Black people to have a name was somebody from my family. So that means
Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
Because they don't. We're not from the motherland. We're from We're from America. So I'd rather say I'm a Black American. So I consider myself a Black American. I don't consider myself African American. And shout out because Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
Because they don't.
I don't mind the term African American. I don't want to be called African American.
Why is that?
I'm not African.
Very strong.
Peace, Grand Rising. Grand Rising. Felt like a lot of Charlie Kirk videos going to be, right? And I don't like to hop on bandwagon things, you feel me? Even though most people who actually did a video on Charlie Kirk after the assassination, I never heard of him before, right? Never heard of Charlie Kirk. Everybody started to clout chase, make videos. They found out who he was later, you know, and then the clout chasing began. So I said, let me let the smoke go down a little bit, let it clear out before I do my video. Okay, first I want to show you guys this. Hold on. Let me extend my search bar. Okay. So Charlie Kirk is wrong, Cameron is right, revenue is dumb. So I did a video on Charlie Kirk a month ago before his assassination. And then I did this video right here. Way before then, I did this video. 3 months ago. Charlie Kirk debunked CRT, critical race theory is real. You dig? So I was already aware of who this guy was. I was making debunk videos. There. So, you dig? Anyway, now that the smoke is clear, I feel like I could do something unique. Have a unique take on Charlie Kirk, his situation. The younger family in the building, the Mandalorian in the building, still tripping in the building, Lord Maul, Fort Lang, Claus Van Dam. We got B1 Prince. He's new. He's FBA of the lineage. Sam B, Renaissance woman. As we go ahead and get into this. All right. So the title of the video is called Charlie Kirk, Hate Speech or Freedom of Speech. Which one stands? Okay. It's a controversial topic because people get assassinated for what they believe in and what they have to say. Is that as American pie, or is this something that needs to be nipped in the bud right away? Because some will say, well, damn, if we cheer on Charlie Kirk's assassination for his freedom of speech, or some would say hate speech, because that's the argument. People say, hey man, he got assassinated for his freedom of speech, and someone say, hey, he got assassinated for hate speech. So it's like, but one thing they have in common is that he got assassinated for speaking, for speeches. All right. Well, I know 2 FBAs. Hold on. There it is. Turn that. All right, 1 second. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Anyway, so I was saying, I know that we have some FBAs who've been assassinated for freedom of speech, and some would say hate speech. You dig? And right there, We have, come on, goddamn thing, right here. Our FBA brothers. So Dr. King, what did he stand for? He advocated nonviolent resistance against racial injustice. Hold. A little bit. All right, let me give me a second. I got a couple of people who I got to send this link. Some people want to listen to my take on this right here. So let me get the link ready to send somebody in. Hold on. What is that? All right. So I see a lineage super chat in the building. I'm gonna get to that 1 second. I got some friends that want to check out the video I'm doing on Charlie Kirk. Okay. Early super chat lineage love in the building by the younger family 999. Chad Smith. Get the likes up so the notifications go out. Fresh always. We got Flack in the building. Mike B was asking about you, Chad Smith. So all right. Okay. All right. So let me send this link to my boy so we can get this going. Okay. So what I'm doing right now is people are comparing Charlie Kirk, which is an unfair comparison. They're comparing Charlie Kirk assassination to the assassination of Dr. King and Malcolm X. Dr. King Jr. and Malcolm X. Thank you for the lineage love in the super chat. The younger family 999. Appreciate it, man. You got it popping really early. All right. Okay. So you got some people, a lot of people who are Charlie Kirk sympathizers, people who empathize with his death, the assassination. They're comparing that to Dr. King and the assassination of Dr. King and Malcolm X. They're saying, hey, man, those two also were assassinated for what they had to say, their freedom of speech. And they're saying some people at that time, even though they were wrong, but they still considered it as hate speech. So I was going into Dr. King. This is a good moment to talk about Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. All right. So Dr. King advocated nonviolent resistance against racial injustice. He criticized, see, that's when people start to get in their feelings. He criticized economic inequality, U.S. militarism, and capitalism, opposed the Vietnam War, especially in his 1967 Beyond Vietnam speech. Called for a poor people's campaign to unite black and white working class Americans. How was he perceived by these Americans? Early on, praised by some white liberals, but the mid-late 1960s, he was branded. Dr. King, Martin Luther King Jr. was branded no different than Charlie Kirk. He was branded a troublemaker and a radical by mainstream media and politicians. Did that mainstream media come out and defend our brother, our ancestor, the way they defended these illegals, these undocumented? Did they go all out to defend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. the way they go out here and defend these undocumented illegal people? All right. FBI surveillance under J. Edgar Hoover labeled Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. the most dangerous Negro in America. Hoover launched COINTELPRO against Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., trying to undermine his credibility. So J. Edgar Hoover, FBI, the government had it in for Dr. King. They seen his speeches as radical. He's a troublemaker. He was called a communist sympathizer, and he was even called un-American due to his anti-war and economic justice stances. What was the motivation? What is some saying the motivation was for his assassination in 1968? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was pivoting from civil rights to economic and global issues, which challenged the entire power structure, not just Southern segregation. His Poor People's Campaign and planned March on Washington scared elites. So his Poor People Campaign and planned March on Washington scared elites. His anti-war speech. His anti-war freedom of speech. His anti-war, some people like Jacob Hoover would say hate speech, drew wrath from the U.S. government and media. And media would defend the hell out of an illegal immigrant, but will be quiet in defending a true American like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was no longer safe. He was galvanizing multiracial class solidarity. Malcolm X. So Malcolm X, what do he stand for? He originally, in his early days, he preached black nationalism, self-defense, and separation from white society via the Nation of Islam. After leaving the Nation of Islam in 1964, he adopted a more global and Pan-Africanist view. But hold on. Before he left the Nation of Islam, he said some things. He spoke freedom of speech. His former members of the Nation of Islam seen his freedom of speech as hate speech against their entire organization and leadership. Elijah Muhammad. They felt like he was delivering hate speech and lies against their leader, Elijah Muhammad. So some seen Malcolm X just giving freedom of speech. Others seen it as hate speech, worthy of death. So really it comes down to freedom of speech or hate speech. People see it no different. You can hear somebody speak and you'll say, hey man, I might not agree entirely, but that's freedom of speech and we got to respect it. That's your American right. Other Americans would see, nah, hell with that. That's hate speech. And there's no place for hate speech in America. And by all means, we need to neutralize that hate speech. That's how some Americans would think. That's why it's called hate speech versus freedom of speech. So after leaving the Nation of Islam in 1964, he hooked up with John Henry Clark and others out there and became more of a global and Pan-Africanist. He had those views. So he ended up founding the organization of Afro-American Unity, not African. He called it Organization of Afro-American Unity to address human rights issues internationally. He criticized the United States of America, for systemic racism and took America's hypocrisy to international forums like the UN. That he's speaking, right? And some seen that speech as hate speech against America. How he was perceived by white America. He was seen by white America and media as an angry radical or black supremacist. Hate speaker. He was misquoted constantly, by any means necessary. That was seen as a violent call, though it was about self-defense, right? But that's how it's twisted in media. Both conservative and liberal reframed him as a violent man. FBI, and NYPD boss tracked him closely. He was also a target of COINTELPRO. The Nation of Islam members began to view him as a traitor after he broke away, and they seen his speeches as hate speech. So the American government seen his speeches as hate speech, his First Amendment right, or freedom of speech. White racists seen his speeches as hate speech. And then some of his former members, his former buddies, seen his speeches as hate speech. So he got it from all angles. Possible motivation for his assassination in 1965, 3 years earlier than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm was starting to unify oppressed people globally, right? Shifting focus to human rights, not civil rights. His message was becoming broader and more powerful to some people. Some people seen it as uniting blacks, poor whites, and global anti-colonialists. Poor whites was also being included in that fight, similar to Dr. King. For his speech, he was assassinated at a time when he was becoming less isolated and more accepted internationally. His killing silenced a voice that had a revolutionary potential beyond the black community, right? So he was stepping out side of that hate speech, the white man's the devil type of rhetoric, and started to really include just people who suffer alike. So Dr. King was rarely accused of hate speech, but often publicly, but often framed as inciting division or stirring unrest. Malcolm X often mischaracterized as preaching hate due to his critics of white supremacy and the U.S. system. Both were monitored, harassed, and discredited using legal and illegal tactics by the U.S. government. Okay. So what they had in common, both men challenged the very soul of America, pushing beyond civil rights into global justice, economic equity, and anti-imperialism. Dr. King threatened the economic system, and Malcolm X threatened the racial and international legitimacy of the U.S. They both were revolutionary figures, not just activists. Their ideological evolution, charisma, and growing multiracial influence made them targets, not merely victims of isolated violence. Freedom of speech or hate speech. Okay. So now that asks the question, who is Charlie Kirk? Why is he here? What happened? And when did he start his campus debates? So Charlie Kirk is the founder of Turning Point USA, TPUSA, a right-wing student organization launched in 2012 when he was only 18. Damn, he couldn't wait to get out there and run his mouth. His college campus debates began gaining traction around 2017, 2018, where he began touring universities for question and answering sessions branded as culture war and campus clash events, right? That's quotations. Culture war was what he called it, and campus clash, he called it that. These events were aimed at challenging left-wing ideologies and energizing young conservative audience. Why did he even focus on campus debates? Okay, he was pushing. His main goals was to push right-wing ideas on free speech, capitalism, Christian values, gun rights, and anti-wokeness. Okay, he was trying to recruit young conservatives. TPUSA has a large college presence, and these debates help build TPUSA chapters and influence campus culture. He was trying to control the narrative. Unlike mainstream news platforms, college campuses allow direct public confrontation, which makes Kirk seem more reasonable or bold depending on who he's up against. He won, he lost, he got some W's, he got some L's, but it was for all content creation. The Q&A's confrontations are filmed and clipped for virality on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. All right. His debates with progressive students often go very, very viral, as you can imagine. Let me just say peace to Yolanda, Salita Marie, Okay, yeah. That's Lord Maul said other folks Charlie Kirk videos are being deleted. That's kind of why I want to go in, but maybe my approach would be more lighter. Well, it will be seen as more lighter, more educational, because I'm gonna give less opinion and I'm gonna give a lot of documented facts, documented opinions. All right, so I'm thinking this is what I thought. I'm thinking that this was a clever way to prep and to go into politics for Charlie Kirk, right? Because normally you'll see politicians do their little tour when they're campaigning, to get voters out there to vote for themselves. And I felt like Charlie Kirk was doing that in a slick way. He was like campaigning without campaigning. He was going to different states, different cities, pushing his agenda, his ideologies onto people, making himself very popular, going viral, positioning himself in maybe a seat somewhere. But others don't feel like that. Others felt like his actions mirror early campaign tactics, state tours, rallies, style events, slogan, T-shirts. All right, which what I said. So of course he built a massive mailing list and donor network TV network. I'm sorry, network via TPU at USA. His speeches often have a presidential tone, like I said. So research is saying the same thing, even when talking to students. So they say similar to Ron Paul, he's similar to Ron Paul or even a Donald Trump type of guy. They say Kirk uses culture to mobilize political identity, not just policy. The strategy is not original, but it is a remix. Okay. Steven Crowder, the guy in the picture right here, that's Steven Crowder right there. He arguably started the trend with his Change My Mind series, first aired around 2017, often sitting at a folded table or on campus with a sign inviting debate. So um, that's Steven Crowder. He also did the college campuses. His approach is more street debate style, casual but confrontational. Kirk's setup is more formal with security, a stage, microphones, and sometimes protests. Both took inspiration from older formats, debate societies, Bill Buckley's Firing Lane, 1960s era, New Left versus New Right college debate. So this has been going on for a little while now. Charlie Kirk likes to debate race and systemic racism. He often downplays systemic racism, systemic causes, which can make people angry. He likes to talk about gun rights. He's a staunch defender of the Second Amendment. Matter of fact, he made some controversial comments about the price that people should pay or should be willing to pay, or the price that is worthy of your Second Amendment constitutional rights. And it was a very aggressive language that's out there that didn't age well for him, because some say, well, Charlie, you became that sacrifice you spoke about that was necessary to uphold the Second Amendment, your Second Amendment constitutional rights. So they saying, hey, nobody should be sad. He predicted this would happen very insistently, and he could be the martyr. He could be a martyr for that speech that he they gave. Yeah, so it was very insensitively the way he said it, kind of hardcore, and I think that struck people the wrong way, ultimately leading to his assassination, possibly. He likes to talk about LGBTQIA plus issues, frequently criticized for his insensitivity, which I keep saying. He talks, so now that's already some controversial topics. He's very insensitive of race and systemic racism. He downplays it very insensitively. So he got FBA crowds angry at him. Gun rights. He talk about that. Hard, staunch speeches seen as insensitive. plus issues, criticized them, seen as insensitive. Abortion, he was a pro-life guy, pro-lifer, highly controversial in those exchanges, very insensitive to that crowd. Critical race theory, he staunchly opposed. Go there. He staunchly opposed critical race theory as just hogwash, very insensitive. And he debated socialism and capitalism versus capitalism. He was a heavy pro-capitalist. No, not wrong with that. Okay. Some say, this is what some people are saying. They say he's deliberately provocative, using emotional hot buttons to stir reactions. Insensitive, what people were calling him. They said, you don't want a man with insensitivity, a man like Kirk. That's what they were singing. He often interrupts students. Nothing wrong with that. All right, this is just the research being critical of him. He often interrupts students. He avoids direct answers or uses straw man tactics. But okay, that happens to him too. So that's what debating is about. Street style debating. That's the research being heavy on him. Okay. But to his credit, he shows up publicly for debate, unlike many. And that's where I like the guy, like just off that. Because, even in a court of law, people want to face their accuser. So people like Charlie Kirk, the Stephen Crowders, and whoever else got out there in public who challenge the public, who has controversial comments, right? Statements, conclusions, ideas. But they put themselves out there to be scrutinized, criticized, debated, debunked. I think that's what it's about. The conversation. I don't think we should eliminate them and then leave it to the Ben Shapiro's that hide behind cameras. The Nick Fuentes who hide behind cameras, Candace Owens, Larry Elders, those type. I support the ones who get out there in the forefront and debate, take on challenges. So I kind of like this style because it gave us a chance to go meet them at those college campuses and cook them or try. Maybe we'll lose. But the fact that he made himself that accessible to be challenged, that's what I thought it was about. That's what I thought it was about. It was about accepting a challenge and having opportunity to debunk it. And some people, like I said, some people did good, some people did horrible. But he made himself available, accessible to the public to be called on his insensitivity and his controversial opinions and ideas that he often expressed. Okay. Okay. So he shows up publicly. He puts himself out there to make himself vulnerable. I felt like that's what you want anybody to do that you disagree with. So he's very, very professional, even though he's insensitive and all those fancy things. He's very professional in his dialogue. He don't stoop down to the level of Richard Spencer, Nick Fuentes, and use crazy language to, disrespect his opponents. Okay, he keeps a professional demeanor for the most part. Now he gives long answers. Okay, sometimes, especially when he's losing. My man be on that microphone for 30 minutes before he get done. They be like, okay, what did you say to debunk what I just said? So I'm gonna give examples. I'm gonna show examples of him debating a young sister, which I think that's one of his L's. Okay. So Charlie Kirk is unapologetically controversial. Okay, but he invites opposing views and rarely ducks public Q&As. And that's why I like him for that only reason. I don't like his views, but I like that he makes himself accessible. Like he pulls up, he wants to smoke. That's what people, ain't that what we want? We want people that'll shoot the fade, the 1v1, they'll squabble. They won't just yell out their top floor window and cuss you out. They actually came downstairs. You know how we say, come outside. Well, he actually came outside while the others hide and yell out their third floor window. The Ben Shapiro's and the Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, Larry Elders. They yell out their third floor window. Um, Charlie Kirk, Steven Crowder, they actually come outside. Okay. So he positions his free speech narrative to frame himself as a free thinker. He contrasts himself with figures like Candace Owens or Ben Shapiro, who do not come outside. You dig? They are in more controlled debate settings. Larry Elder's the most funniest. Him and Thomas Sowell, because they be having like straight up their own ask them quote unquote tough questions. Like, come on, stop. Okay. So, like I said, Steven Crowder, I think he was more popular with his Change My Mind college campus street style debates. Okay. He stopped doing it, right? He was, in my opinion, way larger than Charlie Kirk. He stopped debating it because he was more, in my opinion, more childish, more insensitive than Charlie Kirk. He was kind of like trolling. So as a result, his platform was demonetized, and he had hella YouTube bans because he would re-upload those to his channel, of course. So he was said to have anti-gay slurs, racial rhetoric, borderline racial. You feel me? He had legal battles with the Daily Wire. So now he just focused more on podcasting and reaction videos. He stopped doing the street style debate on college campuses, and he allowed, well, not allowed, but he said, Charlie Kirk, that's your lane. Go do it. All right. So Charlie Kirk college tours, right, is part educational theater, part political strategy. He weaponizes debate in a way that mobilizes culture war narrative. Right. He builds conservative influence on campus. He keeps himself relevant and visible, possibly setting the stage for a future in politics or media domination. And a lot of times, he'll I know that Steven Crowder, for the most part, will go to like liberal, liberal states where they got, colleges where it's like most of the kids are liberal, right? That's what they want. They want challenges. And I think that Charlie Kirk was starting to win over some of those liberals. And with his debates and his logic and his wittiness, hey man, some liberals ain't like that. They say, oh hell, we trying to get more numbers, and you over here subtracting our numbers. Okay, you over here, we're like barely hanging in there, and here you go, recruiting. So that's how uh some people took it. We got FBA Convo in the building. We got Maxwell Jenkins. We have Pinky Wells. We got, who else is snuck in? Kiel Hall. We got okay, I see you. I see ya. Okay, all right. Oh, I need to put my Cash App in there. Hold on. Oh, I did put the Cash App. Okay. So that's some stuff. That's some background on Charlie Kirk. Some background on Steven Crowder. Then I talked about Dr. King, Malcolm X. Okay. So now we got to talk about this guy. Okay. We got to talk about this guy. Have you guys ever heard of him? Have you guys ever heard of him? George Lincoln Rockwell. Well, he's being called the Charlie Kirk before Charlie Kirk. Brother Moses, Breonna Joy, great debate. TMB and those other five want to fill a spot. Now, they're too scary, bro. They're too scary. They will never come outside. They'll never come outside. They're scary as hell. They'll never come outside. Okay. This guy right here. Who heard of him? Who heard of George Lincoln Rockwell? So they calling him the Charlie Kirk before Charlie Kirk. What about this guy? That is Charlie Kirk before Charlie Kirk. What about this guy? Why is he on my screen? Okay, so let's give some background. So he was born March 9th, 1918 He died August 25, 1967. He was assassinated. Okay. You like, so? People get assassinated all the time, B. Well, what did he found? He founded the American Nazi Party in 1959, originally called the World Union of Free Enterprise Nationalists. I'm sorry, the World Union of Free Enterprise National Socialists. That's what it's called. Okay. What was his beliefs? He openly admired Adolf Hitler. He denied the Holocaust. He preached white supremacy, anti-Semitism, and anti-black racism. He claimed Jews were manipulating media and finance. And some of you guys repeat the same right-wing talking points today. Okay. He referred to Dr. Martin Luther King as Martin Luther Coon. Okay, so you got a tether who's stealing our language. That's like really rare, I thought. Oh, okay. So what is he known for? What is he known for? He's known for spewing that rhetoric at college campuses. Yes. He was going to college campuses doing the Charlie Kirk before Charlie Kirk. Openly white supremacists, KKK, or Nazi party sympathizer. So, and check this out. He was a well-known white supremacist. He wore his white supremacist literally on his sleeve like a Nazi soldier. And in spite of that, Rockwell was still invited to speak at several universities, including UCLA, 1962, Brown University, now 1962, Columbia University, 1966. So he was like welcome. University of California, Berkeley, Michigan State University, Northwestern University. This guy was crazy. So now you'll say, well, why was he allowed to speak on, Jewish in an anti-Semitic way, speak on foundation of Black Americans in a racist way? Why? How is this possible? Well, under the free speech principles, colleges at that time, especially during the civil rights and Vietnam protest era, were strongholds for free expression, even of controversial or hateful ideas. America was crazy. It is still crazy. America is crazy. Some schools believe exposing students to opposing views was an educational tool, even if those views were bigoted. Student curiosity and shock value. Some student groups invited him not out of agreement, but to confront or mock his views. Oh, you see? So they appreciate the Charlie Kirk style, right? They say, hey, man, this guy's willing to pull up. Let me debate his foolishness. Let me go viral. Let me cook him. You dig? Let me show you how his rhetoric doesn't hold up. His presence was often used to provoke debate about racism, free speech, and civil rights. Okay, his controversy. Rockwell thrived on attention and was savvy at manipulating media and academic environments for exposure. Most importantly, most of the campus audiences did not support Rockwell. He was often heckled, booed, or met with counter protest, similar to what you see at a Charlie Kirk campus debate. So, what did he talk about? What did he do? What did he debate? So, he justified Nazi ideology. He claimed that Jews control media, government, banking is the Jews. He attacked the civil rights movement, communism, interracial relationships. He often said that foundational Black Americans were better off under segregation. The same rhetoric you get from a lot of Black conservatives. Hold on. Your boy Larry Elder, your boy Charlie Kirk. I never heard Shapiro say it. I never heard Nick, but I know for a fact Charlie Kirk and Larry Elder said that foundational Black Americans were better off under segregation. That's actually, they all really believe it, but they don't really express it because that is a Thomas Sowell talking point, and he's their granddaddy. So if Thomas Sowell said it, it must be true. All right. But anyway, Rockwell, he often said that foundational Black Americans were better off under segregation and blamed them for crime and societal decline. Yeah. So what about black on black crime was happening during the early 60s? He repeated Hitler's rhetoric, calling for a white only America, go back to Africa rhetoric. And I'm like, yeah, Pan Africanist first, tether second. We're staying. He compared himself to Hitler in interviews and speeches. Really? Okay. But I want to go back to the fact that he was arguing that foundational Black Americans were better off under segregation. So you will hear that. You will hear a lot of conservatives repeat that. Modern conservatives, they'll say, "Hey, the marriage rate was this before the civil," and like they condemn the civil rights movement altogether. Hey, the marriage rate was this. Oh my God, this was going on under segregation, Jim Crow. This was going on when your rights was limited. You had black millionaires when your rights were limited. Man, you were better off when your rights were limited than when you supposedly have all your constitutional rights protected post civil rights movement. You know, kind of what the Nation of Islam was talking. All right. Definitely what Garvey is talking. He was definitely a Garveyite. All right. Um, he was assassinated, as you can imagine, for all that rhetoric, all that crazy talk. They got him. So it was August 25th, 1967, Arlington, Virginia, in a shopping center parking lot. He thought shit was sweet. The killer was John Patler, a disgruntled former member of the American Nazi Party. So it was his own. Now, all that, what about black on black crime? All that, what about black on black crime? But what about what about American Nazi Party crime? You got killed by your own, my boy. That had to hurt. Okay, so Patler had recently been expelled from the party and reportedly disagreed with Rockwell's leadership, though he still held racist views. So they both are racist, but he said, "Yo, Rockwell tripping, bro. All this shit he talking, man. He got to get going." Okay, so while Rockwell gained media attention, Rockwell was considered a fringe extremist, even by many conservative white Americans of his time. So they like, "Yo, this dude is doing the most." He was often rejected or banned from public venues, but his tactics, symbolism, and rhetoric helped inspire future white supremacist groups and people like Charlie Kirk or the National Socialist White People's Party, later militia and alt-right movements, right? So he sparked a lot of racist folks, a lot of racist groups, a lot of racist people. While he took his ideas seriously at the time, okay, Rockwell mainstream Nazi symbols like swastikas and Hitler salutes in U.S. discourse. He used media spectacle, marches, threats, and college speeches to insert hate into public conversation. He influenced the rebranding of hate groups, including those who would later tone down Nazi language to blend into American political culture, right? So they're in your politics. Okay. So anyway, I say all that to say, again, don't forget, he was invited to college campuses to test freedom of speech. That was the thing. So the question of freedom of speech versus hate speech, it continues on modern campuses, like Charlie Kirk. So Rockwell's legacy is often cited by groups who blur the lines between free speech and hate speech. He's a case study in how racism, anti-Semitism, anti-FBA black racial guy, and political violence can hide behind debate, right? So, anyway, let's see, where we at? Where we at? Charlie Kirk. To end it on Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's strategy was to use debate format on campuses to challenge left-wing students and promote right-wing populist views, energize the youth conservative movement, and dominate the culture war. He presented himself as a rational debater willing to be challenged. He records and uploads the debates to social media for virality, avoids overt racial slurs, but implies controversial racial positions under the guise of facts and logic. The outcome, he gains publicity, donations, and political influence. But his boy, George Lincoln Rockwell, his strategy was intentionally provoked outrage by speaking on college campuses like UCLA and Brown University. His motive was publicity and ideological expansion. His method, he wore full Nazi uniforms. This guy was the most. He justified Hitler actions, claimed interrogation was Jewish manipulation and blacks were inferior. He threatened violence rhetorically and through political theater. His outcome, he increased FBI surveillance. He was ostracized. Internal party conflicts led to the assassination by a disgruntled follower. And some are saying Charlie Kirk was this is just a rumor I heard. They're saying Charlie Kirk was murked by his own. So interesting. Where we at in the chat? Where we at? So we got A. McMill. We got Oldest Rich. He said, you see the Jamaicans selling kangaroo meat for oxtail. Yeah, that's crazy. I was trying to find that story. Let me give Oldest Rich a lineage wrench, make him a moderator. I was trying to find that story. Yeah, but I definitely heard that. You got Majority Lemons. They selling kangaroo meat as oxtails. Cause I heard that oxtail, man, that thing be sold out. They never. Yeah, that's one thing about Jamaican restaurants. They sell they make good food. They make good cultural food. But they never have it in. You go there, you be like, can I get that stewed fish? We're sold out, or we have no more. Okay, let me get that. We don't have that. Like, I ain't even finished what I was saying. It don't matter. We ain't got it. Like, damn. Okay, I'm thirsty. We ain't got that. So why the hell you open? Yeah, but they never got food in their damn store. They always sold out. It's like, yo, y'all don't. That's shit crazy. Always out of something. So they said, well, we'll fix that. We'll just order some kangaroo meat. You dig? Order some kangaroo meat. Kangaroo meat. And had that as oxtail. Man, FBA ate that shit, was like, yo, what the hell is this, man? You know, goddamn oxtail. You know, we know oxtail. We buy it so much. Like, yo, that ain't oxtail, man. What the hell is that? Yeah, what bush meat animal is that, my man? That definitely ain't no goddamn oxtail. That is hilarious. We got number one switchblade in the building. Snuck in here. We got TNBN in the building. Let me give TNBN a lineage rent. I think TNBN is FBA. We'll soon find out. Brother Moses, I don't know what you are, Brother Moses, but let me give you an example of Louder. Steven Crowder, his thing was called Louder with Crowder. So this is him debating. Like, he loved to debate different topics than Charlie Kirk. He would debate, like, is male privilege a myth?
So you're getting very emotional.
Because this is serious.
Yes, of course it's serious.
I'm a white privileged male.
Stop
Why
it.
do you have to carry
Rape is
a
illegal.
gun to kill a male rapist when that male could just not rape in the first place?
I know. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be
fucking great?
Yes.
And do you know why women
Wouldn't it be
are
great
so...
if men didn't rape?
Yeah.
See, he was more like a jokester. As you can see, he didn't take it as serious as Charlie Kirk, so I don't know.
Who are you arguing with?
Actually, Louder with Crowder, that was his thing. And this was Charlie Kirk.
Before the other. He signed an executive order against both, for the record, so I wasn't sure which one you were talking about.
I'm talking about DEI.
So DEI, it depends what we mean in practice. So I can give you one example. there are black-only graduation ceremonies at certain schools or black-only dormitories.
But those are kind of student-led. I mean,
on,
I'm
but
part of a black-only
let's play this out.
organization, and
So-
it's run by students. It's not
Fair
through
enough.
the school.
Let's play it out. So if there is a black-only,
Hold on. I'm like, why the hell is my? I forgot. I turned my Bluetooth off. Hold on, family. Let me turn my Bluetooth back on. I wonder why my headsets ain't picking up the sound.
let's pretend, which it's not, that building is black only. If I said that, if that building was
I'm
white,
like, the campus center?
Hold on, let me get my headphones.
let's pretend it's not.
Hypothetically, yes.
Hypothetically, if that building was white only, you would agree that's a violation of the Civil Rights Act.
Yes, but there
Hold
are
on,
no buildings on campus that are black only and white only.
Well,
and by
But there are on other campuses.
No,
though.
but in those dormitories that are like culturally specific, you don't have to be that culture to live there. They're not going to not allow you to be black to live in a black dormitory.
You would
no,
be
Ujima at
surprised.
Stanford.
He said you'd be
white
surprised. All right, so now that's Charlie got to prove that one. You can't just talk like that and don't have any proof.
Other campuses.
No,
though.
but in those dormitories that are like culturally specific, you don't have to be that culture to live there. They're not going to not allow you to be black to live in a black dormitory.
You would
no,
be, you'd be
Ujima at
surprised.
He said
Stanford.
you'd be
White
surprised. All right, okay, we're good.
people do live at Ujima. That's not.
I don't know about that specific example, but if it says black only dormitory.
But it doesn't say black only.
But okay, how about this? How about if we had?
look.
It does.
Now look, he said it does.
It
So now,
doesn't. Where?
this is where she did good, but you could tell like she just good with information. She's not really a great debater because I would say, hey, bro, which campus? Like, see, you got to do him how to do you. You got to say, hey, which campus got that, buddy? Like, let's Google it right now.
Where does
Just,
it say?
Leon Atkins,
just to be clear,
Nick
in the title,
was talking
but let's
about
pretend it
but
says
where?
black.
him being from money like a privileged kid. Yeah, but you can't listen to nothing Nick Fuentes says. Like, see, that's the thing, family. But like certain people got more credibility than others. Like Bishop Pearl won't lie like Nick Fuentes, okay? And Jared Taylor won't lie like Richard Spencer. Now they all lie, but they won't lie the same. Every lie ain't the same. Like, yeah, Nick Fuentes would basically say anything. Like, he's a clout chaser. He'll say anything. And so would Richard Spencer say. Like, they don't have no like pride, and you know, they would just say, like, they don't even try to pretend like they're credible. Like, they'll just say the most craziest shit. Remember, he told Candace Owens that Egypt wasn't in Africa, then it was in Africa. Like, he was just all over the goddamn place. Yeah. When you still don't know Egypt is in Africa, like, I really can't take you serious.
Like what school? Where does
Okay,
it say black
Eastern,
only building?
Eastern Washington University, Portland State University, just off the top of my head, San Jose State University.
They say black only dormitory? And if a white person were to apply to live there?
It's a black affinity
they would
cultural
not-
space of which only black individuals are accepted and governed for black individuals. But can we have white affinity cultural spaces?
You can have a white affinity cultural space. The activity is, the issue is
See,
that
I
you're
think
saying
that's against
black
the Civil Rights
only.
Act.
It's not black only. It's a black affinity cultural space. But anyone is invited if they would like
that
to
part,
participate.
she's not really honing in to cook them. So she's like kicking facts, but like I said, she's really good at facts, but she's horrible at debating. Like, some stuff you gotta highlight and emphasize and re-emphasize and say it again and say it again and make your opponent concede and say, okay, yeah, and I mean, at that point, she's correcting him, but she's not making him face the correction. You feel me? Like, she's not putting his face in the pie. So that part she got to work on. All right. So now, look, he gonna skip past it. It's almost like they agreed to disagree when that wasn't the case. She was right, he was wrong, and that has to be highlighted when you're debating.
I would, first of all,
You cannot legislatively
I
not
agree.
allow someone of any race to
So-
participate
See,
in something. That doesn't
I agree,
exist.
and I would have said, well, why you keep saying that then? Like, why do you keep lying to these people? You feel me?
we agree that's the spirit of the diversity, equity, inclusion order is that DEI in practice, again, we have to go through example after example, is discrimination, prejudice, and
let's
segregation.
talk about DEI in practice. Let's talk about DEI programs in the workforce, because DEI programs in the workforce happen to benefit veterans, they benefit people with disabilities, they benefit people at an economic desperate, they benefit lots of people that is not just on the basis of race. And to me, it feels like you're conflating DEI with pro-blackness or black only, which is not the definition of DEI.
So let's take a high-profile DEI example. Is that cool? Just maybe one we can play around with?
Okay.
Which got me in a lot of viral trouble, which I don't care, which is pilots.
I got in a lot of viral trouble, too. I
Hey,
was debating this guy,
I
you know.
And he kept interrupting you.
He did!
I know, right? Which is this, which is that, let's say DEI, a project of DEI at United Airlines was that we want to get 40% of our pilots to be black or women of color, or women or people of color.
40%.
50, I'm sorry, to get up to 50. It was at like 6%. So therefore, they wanted to make a push towards that, and it was currently at 6%. We look at that and we say, wow, you're going to have to lower standards to get to that goal.
Why would you have to lower standards?
Well, because
are you saying that black people are inherently inferior?
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that black people are only 13% of the population. So you want 13% of the population.
Women are not 13% of the population. Women are 50% of the population.
Yeah, but women do not make up a majority of people that want to become pilots. In fact, the vast majority of women don't want to be pilots.
Maybe they would want to become pilots if the barriers for entry
well,
weren't.
see that now we're going down a different but equally fun direction, which is male-female differences. Men much more likely want to be involved in heavy machinery, mechanics. They want to be pilots. They want to be tank operators. They want to be police officers. Whereas women much more likely want to be, I'll get to you, Mason. Don't worry. And I remember your name.
Yes, can Mason go? They won't let him go.
I'll let Mason go. I'll let Mason go. But just, Mason, have some patience. We did this last time, okay? But do you understand, at least from our perspective, because it's no good for us to go back and forth again, maybe from our perspective, that we worry that the pursuit of diversity can mean the compromising of excellence.
Charlie Kirk, this country is diverse. You can't just say the pursuit of diversity is compromising excellence. Diversity literally just means difference. This country is 13% black, it's 14% immigrant, it's 1/5 of every person in this country is Hispanic, it's 7% homosexual, and 50% of the country disagrees with you.
Okay,
diversity is America. You cannot say
all of that is true.
That you
Hold on.
are America first if you do not care about half of America.
I care about them so much, in fact.
You care about them so much that you don't want to give them
I didn't interrupt you.
access
I care
to
about
equal rights.
Well, hold on. No one said rights. Hold on a second. No. I care about them.
It is. It's equal rights. It's
Naima,
equal
let
access.
me finish. Now who's interrupting who? I care about them so much. I want the only thing that they're ever judged on is to be their character or their competency, not their skin color.
Okay, so you want it to be a meritocracy. You
Yes.
want it to be so let's talk about a meritocracy.
Okay.
What experience?
Yeah, Zangari, he ain't right. He said Kirk is 9 days racist free. That ain't right, man. Zang, are you FBA? Let us know. Or just just non-FBA. Okay, now this part I think she really gonna get on right here, because now Charlie Kirk is running to the meritocracy argument. So she's like, oh, really? So you want to get hired based off your experience, your skill set? Okay, let's have that conversation.
Does Kash Patel have to run the FBI?
He has amazing experience.
No,
In
he
fact,
doesn't. He wanted to start a UFC.
Yeah, he said he has major experience. So, yes, she really got him right here. The Kash Patel is where, it kills that whole meritocracy argument.
He has amazing experience. I got 5 words in. He was the most important thing. He was a public defender.
Now, look, he's going to make up criteria. He was the most important thing. He was a public defender. Okay, so public defenders should be highly considered to run the FBI. Like, you just made that up, bruh. Like, what criteria was that before you just made that up?
That's not what that's not the job of the FBI. He has no experience in the FBI.
He was a public defender and he was a special prosecutor.
Was he ever a member of the FBI?
No, but
He doesn't have the merit to have
hold
that
on a
job. All right,
second.
let's do another example.
But
What
I'm
experience
not
does
done.
Linda McMahon?
I'm not
what
done.
experience does Linda McMahon have to run?
She ran the
Department of
Small
Education?
Business Administration in the first term, which is a big, big organization. She was the head of the SBA.
When she was the CEO of
No, hold on.
WWE,
I'm not even talking about that. She ran the SBA. By
one
the way,
of her employees was engaging in pedophilic behavior with their ring boys under her watch.
I'm not going to defend
and now
that.
she
but
is somehow qualified to be.
Yeah. I'm watching that. Okay, so let me show that. So this chick OD'd and got fired. Okay, so Children's Healthcare of Atlanta fires employee over Charlie Kirk comments. I mean, really, is it really that serious to? But you know what? Like these women be those liberals like her. They be like all in, like really. So now look at this crazy shit she did. Now, I wonder what her background is. He has kids, F his kids, F his ancestors, especially the BI who birthed him. Like are you? Was that really worth? Do you feel good now, home, unemployed? Like, yeah, we gotta really. It ain't like your party. I mean, was responsible for Charlie Kirk's deletion. It ain't like you was really. You crashed out for somebody else. For somebody else, W. All right. All right. So I think I'm done with this one. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back. GPGH, long time, buddy, long time, family. So I'm gonna come back live, right? I'm gonna come back live with. I'm gonna go to a little diner. I'm gonna go back live, and I want to finish on black. I want to finish on black. All right. So we're gonna wrap it up on black. Well, not wrap it up, but you get what I'm saying. We're just gonna keep cooking on who's black, who's not, and we're gonna debunk the Tether's rebuttal. So Bumpy Illu says when keeping it real goes bad. Yeah, right. At some point, like we gotta just be smart. Like really, like how does that help you? And we're in a day and age that your coworker's gonna screenshot that shit and give it to your boss. Most likely her coworker that she smiles with and go to lunch with every day, every afternoon, that same coworker is the one that screenshotted that and passed that thing on to management. That's why I don't try to make friends in no company at all. All right. All right. So Bumpy, Illus, and whoever else was new here. Who was the other person? Zang and the other person. Hey, subscribe, like the video, and tune back in at about 1 o'clock. Yeah. That's a good time. So tune back in about 1 o'clock. I'm gonna go live from the little diner, and we're gonna finish cooking on black. All right, everybody. Peace and grand rise to everybody who just chimed in.